In progress.
Wow, I'm surprised a Sandrick publication like the BBC is actually admitting to something like this. Thousands misusing abuse orders to get legal aid, says parenting charity. Okay, so the charity is seeing its aid being used up. And guess what? This is a gendered issue. They're going to try and put it in gender neutral terms, but this is women attacking men, wives attacking husbands, mothers attacking fathers, using the child as a catalyst, as leverage. Now, thousands of parents, see, they're using gender neutral terms, falsely claim domestic abuse in order to access legal aid and stop estranged parents from seeing their children. Shared parenting charity claims. Right. Family needs fathers, says parents. Wow. So there it is gendered. They're talking about an organization called Families Need Fathers. So they're admitting that the situation is a gendered one. Says parents are being encouraged by some solicitors to file non-molestation orders, injunctions used in urgent abuse cases. Right, they put out something that they think is designed to stop for something, an emergency of a child being abused, and it doesn't work that way. Why? Because society doesn't want to admit how women view men. It doesn't want to admit the gender dynamics. It always goes neutrally, like, oh, women and men like each other, and sometimes there are bad seeds. No, it's in order for this to work, you would have to have a proper legal system that treats the men with respect as citizens, and you'd have to punish the women who make false claims. I just put it in the proper context. New figures show that 30% of rise in orders after the legal aid was axed everything but abuse cases in the family courts in 2012. So you see what happens. Like I said, the family unit is just there for women to have an easy life. And they were willing to leave the father alone if they got legal aid in other routes. But once they put it down to only this route, they used it. Right. And 30% is a huge rise in it, right? It's a huge lift, which means on a macro level, that's how women view men. That's how wives view their husbands. Now, of course, we're talking about England and Wales, the UK again. I thought I had it bad in Canada. Thank God I live here and not over in that hellhole, that misandric hellhole. The changes to the legal aid qualification in England and Wales were designed to reduce the number of cases in family courts, with separating couples being encouraged to attend mediation sessions instead, and to cut legal and aid bill. See, they realized, why was it the legal aid bill through the roof? Because the women were used the family unit to get money for themselves, to get free income. And of course, society pretends that the women are there in the family unit because they want to be in the family unit, right? That's why it's working that way. And the other thing that they have their blinders on is they want mediation sessions. Like they treat it like, hey, it's just a bad spell. The mothers and fathers aren't getting along. No, the mothers never loved the fathers in the first place. The wives never loved their husbands. They were always just a means to an end. And that's why these problems keep cropping up, because society doesn't want to admit gender dynamics. The average person is a woman worshiper and wants to pretend that the women and their mothers are motivated by different, these wonderful motivations. They aren't. Now, but charity caseworkers say they are seeing thousands of parents, thousands of mothers, mainly. Yeah. Oh, wait, they did admit it. Listen to this. Thousands of parents, mainly fathers, who have been made subject to these orders for things that they do not consider to be domestic abuse. Yeah, this is the UK's legal system's fault for allowing abuse, domestic abuse, to be expanded to trivial things. So, and they do it purposely. And the fact that the fathers are the ones that are mainly affected, it goes to show you law can be gender neutral, but in the end, people practice it, with gender bias. These could be angry comments thrown in the midst of a breakup or dealing with a child access arrangements or unpleasant text messages, they say. So if the father, it's going to be the father, text out you're a bitch, then she'll call that domestic abuse, and the legal system runs with it. This is the legal system's fault. They are the ones who allow this because the legal system are involved with it. It's a misandric system. Now, false allegations. The charity suspects that solicitors firms are talking mothers into seeking such orders because it enables them to qualify for legal aid from which both the legal profession and the compliant could benefit. So, of course, funny. Now, they always talk about the money, but the simple fact is these legal firms aren't going to the fathers and suggesting this for the mother, are they? So this is not really just about the money. It's misandric, because if it wasn't, you would see these firms going for mothers as much as they do fathers, and they don't. The spokesman for the charity said, we're getting a lot of people coming to us talking about false allegations. Fathers, whether it's grossly exaggerated events or even completely fabricating them, of course. And you know why? Because one thing, it says that women have no honor, and they attack their so-called loved ones brutally. In this case, these women aim for the crotch every time. They're willing to go for the child molestation that destroys a man's very life to get what they want. And they outright lie. And the reason why they do is that there's no pushback. They get what they want and they don't get punished. And yet the impact of the order can take a parent down a path that can be very difficult to return from. The father, in other words. Once she smears the father with a pedophile accusation, it's over for him. So look how gentle they talk about this. This is the BBC, modus operandi. Now, the chairman of Family Needs Fathers, yes, said the result of the government's well-intended, it's not well-intended, but ill-conceived changes to the family court system was a 30% increase in non-molestation orders. Exactly. It was the only route for these women to get free money from their families, which is what the family was there in their minds for in the first place. There has also been a 20% rise in private family court. Yeah, because they said, there's fewer routes in the governmental ones, so we'll just go to the private ones. These are used in allegations of abuse, and they don't have to be true to obtain access to legal aid. Exactly. It doesn't have to be true for the mothers. I suspect when the fathers, because notice that's why it's, Family Needs Fathers are the ones complaining about it, right? Non-molestation orders have gone up by several 100% since the legal aid changes in some districts. Well, they're not talking about 30% anymore. They're talking about hundreds of percent. The work, like injunctions, are designed to protect domestic abuse victims for further harm in emergency situations. You're wrong. I won't say they're lying. They're just wrong. They're not designed for that at all, because for one thing, they don't want to admit what the motivation for women to get into family units is in the first place, right? No one wants to admit that the woman gets into the family unit because the family unit is there. She's in charge of it, and it's there to serve her. And I can say that now because my channel has shown dozens of these situations. So we can see it, and they're showing it on a macro level, right? So it's not designed for that. It's designed if look, gender neutral laws are practiced gender bias. So it doesn't matter. First, for them to work, these laws to work, they have to destroy the gender bias in the people working in the court system. They have to deal with that first. They're never going to deal with that. The charity stresses they're useful in genuine cases of abuse because they're making excuses for themselves. They are often granted in the absence of the person being accused to abuse them. The respondent, I suspect the respondent in this case means the father, and without accusations of domestic abuse being proven. Exactly. Once the woman makes these accusations, doesn't have to be proven, and the guy doesn't even know what's happening. Making an order then also enables the compliant to draw on thousands of pounds of legal aid, which is also used in a subsequent family law cases. So they're giving the mother, the woman, an easy way out. They're giving her free money to say, go after the father. That's what's going on here. The respondent, which is the father, would not be automatically entitled to legal aid, however, and often has to represent themselves. Exactly. So you see how the system, it's not broken, it is misandric. It's done purposely this way. I'm going to cut you guys off and say the system is broken. The system is not broken. The system is working exactly as it was designed. The woman gets free money to destroy the father, and the man has to look after himself. After the woman has gotten this tremendous leap ahead of him, because she can make this accusation and he's not even let known until everything's working, once the wheels have been going. The level of evidence required is fairly low and can relate to claims about verbal abuse, unwanted text messages and emails. Exactly. In other words, the abuse could be whatever the woman says. In some regions of England and Wales, the increase has been as much as 900%. Oh my God. Others, there have been 150% rise according to the information obtained by Families Needs Fathers, right? What it's the people who represent the men actually look and say, oh my God, look what's happening. Of course, the humble, gross exaggerations. Oh my God. Now I'll put this in the, the box for you guys to look. You can read the rest because really this is just winding me up. I know this is the kind of thing that is repeating on my channel, but it needs repeating. This is disgusting. Like men need to, look, they talk about greater awareness. Let me tell you, greater awareness doesn't mean anything. For one thing, if you can't admit what your awareness shows you, that the family unit is just there to be used by the woman and to be tossed, and she never loved the man and he was just a servant to her. And so they have to admit it, and then they have to take action. They have to kick all the misandrists out of the legal system, punish them. They have to then turn around and say, okay, now as soon as these accusations are made, we got to make the person prove it. And if they don't prove it, we got to punish them. And you know what will happen? The family unit will all but disappear, because the mother only gets into the family unit as one, being in charge of it, and two, being able to use it and toss it when she doesn't want to bother with it anymore. You will see the marriage rates drop. One of the guys, the PMC, said it perfectly. Women get married knowing that they're going to divorce. Not that it's an option, they're going to do it. The family unit is not what people think it is or believe it is. It is it's a tool for women in society to use and toss when they no longer find it useful. That's what the family unit is. Okay. Now, I'll put this in the description box so you guys can read it, and we'll end it here.